What up? It's Little Blackie here with another video, man. Listen, the elephant in the room is the fact that, white dudes usually, from what I've seen on Instagram, on social media, is that they gatekeep white girls. And I've been wondering to myself, like, yo, why is this? Why do white guys gatekeep white girls from different races, especially black? Asian, they can usually, swallow that pill and understand that, it's fine. But if it's any other race, okay, but maybe even Mexicans, they can swallow that pill. But if it's like a black person, it's more like, yo, you're dirty now. I can't touch you, okay. And I saw one comment on a video actually, and this guy was saying that we don't want to get any diseases, and that was actually kind of hilarious. So I genuinely like watch a lot of racist content, and I do it just to expose myself to different mindsets and how people think and perspectives. And I don't get touched, honestly. I understand exactly where some people are coming from, especially if you're from like a household that is extremely white nationalist, and that's the only point of view that you see in reality, is that no white girl is supposed to get with a black guy. And one of the biggest reasons I think is that the baby, the offspring, is somehow more black than white. So if it's an Asian and a white person, usually the offspring will still have those traits, that phenotype of a white person, okay? But if it's a black person, now the phenotype looks different. It's completely, at a great contrast from the white woman. And I feel like this is one of the leading reasons why white guys will gatekeep a lot of white women from black guys. Although nowadays it doesn't work because of how society is integrated and how we live as a society nowadays and how things are nowadays. So I honestly understand why dudes, their population is decreasing by the numbers. It's actually crazy that in Europe the ratio for the average child being born in a family is 1.8, which is literally ridiculous. It's very small. In Africa, in places like Nigeria, it's 5, okay. In South Africa, it's 2 point something. So it's you need so a lot of them also have this great fear that they're gonna get replaced, and seeing a white woman with another black dude is like, there's this fear that comes into them that's like, okay, well that child is gone now. We've lost a number of from our race, okay. And I've seen videos whereby they take the great grandmother and she's white, and the great grandmother and she's white, and then the grandmother and she's white, and the mother and she's white, and then the mother somehow gets with a black guy, and then the offspring is a black child. Well, she's mixed essentially, but mixed nowadays is black, and then from that point onwards, they're black. So it's almost like they feel like you're going back in time. They feel like if you mate with a black person, you're going back in time and you're diluting the race. And for them, it's a huge problem. So a lot of people have this group mentality of when they talk about race and all this type of stuff, okay, that we are race, we're our people. In fact, I used to work at a pizza place, and the boss there, he was a white dude, okay, very successful, made a whole lot of money. He had his own restaurant by that time. Started off at the very low position, being a milkshake boy, and he worked his way up into owning a restaurant. But this is a hard-working white dude, and I respected him quite a lot. And we had this mutual respect where he would talk about certain things with me, and yeah, this is about that. So basically, when people would come in, black people, he'd be like, "That's your people." He'd like, "Your people, this." So if there was a black client that somehow didn't like the order, they'd be like, "Yo," he's like, "Level, your people." Okay, that's how he used to speak. And then when you talk about white people, you'd be like, "My people." So he had an extremely group mentality around race, and he felt like, obviously these two different people who have two different mentalities, two different ways of living, two different cultures, okay. There's also another thing that really hinders a lot of race mixing, is culture, okay. Culture is huge, but for me, culture to like inhibit you dating someone is just, for me, it's so small, it's so minuscule to the larger picture of life. Okay, culture is nothing to me. It's like the food you eat, the music you watch, the music you listen to, the movies you watch, the people who you talk to on a daily basis. That can be all dealt with on a I'm saying you can always find a way. So I've never seen a culture as a huge problem why I wouldn't date a different race. And I was also on the comments. I was really watching a video, and on the comment section, this other guys like, all black women, us black guys love all women, and I felt like I honestly I didn't like that comment. I didn't like that comment because it makes us black guys cheaper. Do you understand that? You know what I'm saying? The fact that white guys actually like gatekeep white women, that actually like increases their value in some sort of sense. Okay, the fact that we don't gatekeep it's like it's crazy for me. Okay, and if you're a white guy like watching this is not like judging you or anything like this. This is just a conversation just to talk about this subject. Okay. And I honestly like when he's like all black guys we date all different races, and he's right, honestly. Okay, and I wonder why. Okay, like I was watching a Korean guy, actually no, Chinese dude, a grandpa. I'm not sure if you watched this video. It's going pretty viral, and he's talking to this white guy. He's like, you guys come here to he's Japanese. He's like, you guys come here to Japan, and you fuck Asian girls. You guys come here, you must fuck Asian girls. You must respect your race. Respect your race. Don't race mix. Okay, so what you'll find is that within Asian groups, they also don't like race mixing, and white people also don't like race mixing. It's only within black people where we don't mind race mixing. And I feel like a huge component of this is the fact that with black people, when we mix with an Asian or we mix with like a white person, the offspring looks similar to us. The offspring looks similar to a black person because the black genes are a bit more dominant. Okay. That's just the truth, okay? It's like there's nothing else I can say about that, okay? They're more dominant because they are the origin of us humans, okay? So it's always easier to kind of like go back to your basic form, your original form, and that's why a lot of people don't like race mixing. And then you factor in a lot of people talking about black people are more stupider. You talk about the IQ rates that people speak about. You talk about a lot of people don't want to talk. They think that black people have more diseases. Okay, I'm very, very, very cautious of diseases and things like that. I've never hit a goal raw, just straight off. You know what I'm saying? I always try to check this and that. I test myself, and I'm just like when I see that thing, I get a bit of offended. But I understand where it's coming from. I mean, my country, there's something called HIV, which is very prevalent amongst a lot of people, and they have it, and it's just like this disease that kills you from the inside out. And it's just like I understand, like it's like I honestly, where did this come from? I don't know. But also you gotta factor in, like, there was a time in Africa where before colonization happened, where black people were just living with disease free, and then white people came with smallpox and they killed so many people. Okay, that killed so many people in Africa. So so a bit of it is racism, a bit of it is kind of like, yo, listen, our population is declining by the day, and we don't have a solution for this. You're just making the situation worse. So I think that's one of the reasons why white guys gatekeep white women from black men or different races. That's just my thought process around this sensitive subject. I hope you guys don't get touched. Okay, it's Label Black Man. Peace. I'm out.